Hi, my name is William Adams. I'm an associate with WealthWave NYC, the Powerhouse Group. I want to welcome you to a pre-recorded version of Money Makeover, the breakfast edition. We're going to begin this session with three very special guests from the performing arts and entertainment industry. They will have a few minutes to share their thoughts on important financial planning tips for your career. Just a little bit about who we are. WealthWave is the How Money Works company. Our mission is to eradicate financial illiteracy. Financial literacy is understanding how to earn, spend, save, manage, and invest your money. Simply put, it's knowing how money works. Enjoy this session and please follow up with us to get your planning for finances in order. What have you done?
Um, I have done everything from print work, from commercial work to Broadway to television. I've been in the industry over 20 years. Yeah,
Wow, you don't look it.
and the longest and biggest thing I would say that I've done was The Lion King for 9 years. I say biggest because, it was kind of like a year to year to year thing. I
Right.
was honored to have a job for 9 consecutive years on a Broadway stage. It's a big deal.
Right.
And I've always felt like if I'm going to be on this stage, killing it 8 shows a week, there's no way I should leave this stage without have buying a place,
Right.
because I just think that was for me.
Right.
I thought that would be a waste
Mhm.
to leave a production and not have anything to show for it, because we buy these material things, but you don't see them. Like, I've bought so many clothes and so many like little items, and you're like, what happened to that? Oh, I got rid of that when I moved, or oh, I gave that away. But it's like when you bought a place that you're still staying in, it's like, oh, yeah, this is where that money went.
Right, right. Yeah, and that's definitely a key element as far as, getting things into ownership within your career. And a lot of people don't actually think about that. And of course, that's what we're going to be addressing today in this particular seminar on how to get all those elements together. Well, Kissy, we sure appreciate you for stopping in and speaking with us. I know you're a busy person, so feel free to hang around. But if you have to go, we understand that you may have to bail out. But we will hope to see you again on our show.
Okay, thank
Great,
you.
great, great. Okay, the next person up is another biggie in the industry. I met him probably a year and a half ago, and he's been such an influence on my life, which he doesn't even know, but I'll say it publicly. He's taught me a lot of things about, you know, the entertainment world without even speaking to me, but I've just been watching his motions. His name is Matt McCoy. He is the owner of Soul City Network here in the middle of Harlem. Matt, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Glad to have you. I mean, I feel
Thank you.
kind of awkward because you're the man who's normally interviewing everyone. So I'm kind of humbled to be asking you questions. So,
It's funny. It kind of reversed. I'm usually being interviewed, but all of a sudden now, because this COVID-19 thing, I wind up interviewing people. So
right,
it's all fun. It's
right.
great.
So talk to us.
All right. Well, it's this whole thing about money makeovers, and I know in the entertainment industry, I was born and raised in the entertainment industry as a kid. I've been singing and playing ever since I was like 5 years old, so I've been in the music industry, and then became a producer for live events and live stage shows involving music, comedy, and spoken word, of course. And now, of course, I am the proud owner of the 7th Black-owned national distributed cable TV network, and which is a whole nother animal.
Wow.
But in pertaining to artists, it's really important, especially in today's world, to make sure that the artists have their financial matters in order. There's I have a lot of friends who, on tour, and they're on tour with a lot of celebrity friends who were on tour or getting ready to go on tour, and the tours got canceled because of the COVID-19. And it's a lot of entertainers who make their living performing in clubs every night, and whether it's locally or nationally. And right now they're not making any money.
Right.
And unfortunately, most artists and people in general, but artists in particular, because they live pretty much week by week and day by day based on their gigs, they right now don't have any money and they have nowhere to turn. And it's hard for a lot of them to get money from, they might get a stimulus, but it's hard for them to get other money in grants and loans because they're individuals who they are the business. They
Right.
are the business. They are the only employee, and so right now it's very important for them. I'm noticing that it's very important for them to make sure that they have some money in reserve and they've invested their money that they make. I mean, what was it? I think it was Gabrielle Union was talking about people in Hollywood. It's a lot of artists, a lot of actors who are very famous, and they get paid a lot of money, but they live paycheck to paycheck.
Wow.
And so, in paycheck to paycheck doesn't mean, everybody does, but you'd be surprised those that make $1,000 a week or, what have you, to those who make $100,000 a week. They're living the same way. Most people live up to the last penny that they have. So it's very, very important for them to understand you got to put some of that money away. You got to save some of that money, have some reserves. I think Jana likes to save, have at least 6 months of reserves put away so that you can survive. And so right now, a lot of people aren't surviving. They're having hard times. They're putting up GoFundMe accounts to get their friends to donate to them so they can pay their rent or, eat and what have you. So, putting that money away, having an investment, a second income coming in from somewhere, whether it's an investment that you made over time. I know artists who make millions of dollars and they damn near broke. Wow. And, it makes no sense for that to happen. But again, if you spend too much money, because you think the money's not going to stop, and you say, well, I got this tour coming up next year, in June, and I'll do that tour and I'll make, $2 million. That tour got canceled. Wow. And that $2 million is not coming. And, you spent your last $1 million, at the club, at the, doing something else you wasn't supposed to be doing, buying something you wasn't supposed to be buying. So, those things are very, very important to make sure that we put away our money, invest it, get yourself, it's the first thing you should have is a financial advisor. I always tell people the 3 top things in life that you should have in your arsenal, no matter what happens. 3 most important people to you are your doctor, your attorney, and your financial advisor. Right. One keeps you healthy, one keeps you out of jail, and the other one makes sure that you're always wealthy. So those things are, very, very important to have. And the financial advisor, probably being the most important, because if you ain't got the money, you're going to get sick. That means you got to go and see your doctor. Or you might, do something stressful. That means you might go to jail. So your financial advisor is always the balancing act, and, in investing, putting money away, if you made $1,000, in 2 days, put $300 of it away and keep doing it every week. Put it away somewhere, put it in some kind of investment vehicle that might be able to make a high interest. That's something that you can talk to Jana about. That's a specialty. So I think it's really important in today's world, especially for artists, to understand their money, how to make money. And then, there's other ways of making money right now too. Turn towards what's happening on social media. Be creative. You're an artist, so be creative. Find other ways to make money with your talent. There's tons of ways. I had a shift. I had things planned for this year that got railroaded. And I had to quickly make a whole bunch of shifts, and I'm still doing it, and it changes week by week. Right. Because, next week's going to be something new, and it's going to be a new law and a new rule that I have to adhere to what I can't do. I can't do this concert now, so I got to do this instead, or I got to do it this way. So, get creative, find ways to continuously, still do what you do, what you love to do, what your craft is, but find a way to make money. And when you make money, put that money away, invest it. I don't care if you just put it in the bank, because I think it's the worst thing to do. But if you put your money in the bank, just put it in and save it. Right. Put a third of your money away. Every time you make money, put a third of it away and keep it there and keep it moving.
Wow. Thank you so much. Definitely Jules from one of the giants here in the television network arena. We sure appreciate what you've done for the community in the aspects of entertainment and being a forerunner. So we'll keep that in mind, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you, bro.
All right. Here we go with our next giant in the industry, in the arts. This brother has been all over the world contributing to the dance arena. And I want to bring him on briefly to talk about what he's seen, what he's doing, and what he hopes to come about with this shift that we're in right now. I present to you Mr. Aubrey Lynch.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, William. Yeah, it's been a 35-year journey so far. I came to New York City in '85, and I was a poor, struggling dancer. And I think by nature, artists are, we live in the now, and I don't want to speak for everybody, at least for me. Our default is not to plan a day ahead. We're kind of in that creative space. People like Matt are lucky. They've got both the creative gene and the linear gene. I'm very envious, sir. Yeah. But, it was something I had to learn. So in any case, I was very, very poor. I got into the Ailey company, and we were savers. We could save money, right? So by the time I left Ailey, I had saved about $7,000, which was a lot of money for me at the time. And I agree. You don't want to put that in the bank if you can. You want to put it in a financial institution that is made to make money, put it somewhere that you cannot touch it. So I guess got the best advice I ever got from this little financial guy. He called me up and I went to the office for an appointment, and he recommended that I put it in money market, which was in stocks and bonds that were about the economy and not businesses. But long-term, he said, don't touch it for 20, 30 years, and it'll be worth a lot of money. So the irony is, he said at the time, nothing's going to happen to the economy, but here we are now. So that's another story. But at the time, he said it's going to always go up, and it did. So I left the Ailey company, had that whole gypsy thing of starving to, doing the whole Broadway show thing, or the auditions, the commercials, the music videos, and I did not touch that money. To the degree that when my brother called, asked me for that money, he needed $7,000. I said no. To this day, I feel guilty, and there's been a bit of a drama in our family because of it. But because I did not touch that money, when I got The Lion King, I made quite a bit of money those first 2 years, more than I ever made. I broke even, and that money became the down payment for my apartment that I own now on over by Lexington and 36th Street. Wow. It was the scariest thing I ever did, but it doubled. It's worth double what it was, even through September 11th, and now this COVID thing. So that was the best part, that investing, putting money away, you always put in the max, whatever you can afford, even if it's $20, you train yourself to put money away every single week. Put it away and don't touch it. If you don't touch it, it really does grow exponentially. Now that was the good news. The bad news is I thought I was a business person. I was gonna open my little business, turn dance classes into money, right? Everyone wants a dance class in New York City, right? Wrong. I was horrible. Wow. I was horrible. I lost so much money. And it's because I spent my own money. I really believe in the project. You don't spend your own money. You get people to invest in your dreams so that they can pay for it for you. And then what happened was, I'm not great at papers and mail and details. So the company was supposed to be paying workers' compensation. I forgot to send one little thing in, and they charged me $11,000 penalty. Whoa. Thankfully, I fought it, got it off. But guess what, cupcakes? It happened again. So right now, I owe $11,000, and it's because somewhere in the mix, when my staff stopped working last May, I didn't turn off some little thing, and they kept, so the unemployment thinks that they were working all this time. So I've got to prove that the people were not working. I can do that. However, I'm not sure if the unemployment I paid for, workers' compensation that I paid for covers up to the last employer. You're charged $200 a day. I didn't know that. So my point is, if you want to start your own business, you got to love business. You got to love numbers, you got to love details, you got to think ahead. You cannot be an artist and a business person. You got to be a planner. Otherwise, you will, like me, be charged $11,000 twice. And I think I can fight this. I don't think I owe that money. So I'm pretty confident that I can prove that I don't owe it. But as a story, I'm just not good at it. So thankfully, I have learned in my life, I'm not going to run my own school. I'm going to work for a school. And so I'm happily now the Chief Officer of Education and Creative Programs at the Harlem School of the Arts. And I have 900 kids that are now learning online, right? So wow. That's how we're surviving. And we're going to figure out how to get through this next year. It's not looking good for us. And thankfully for me, I own the apartment, but that's all I own, because now that my Lion King, I was also the associate producer for Lion King, and I choreographed 2 shows. So the residuals I was getting from that it stopped because Broadway closed. Who knew? So that money's gone. And if things go the way they're going to go, I'm sure I'll take a pay cut at HSA. So I'm going to have nothing this summer, nothing but my apartment. And that's because of the first investment I made 30 years ago. I'm sorry.
Wow. Wow. Smart planning still, you know, with the ups and downs, at least you had a basic platform to back up on, you know, in times like these. So that's basically what we're going to be dealing with today. We're going to be bringing Dr. Woodhouse on in a moment. And all those little hiccups that Aubrey just spoke of, she's going to be taking us through the steps on how to avoid some of those things. But more than that, just giving us a basic platform of how money works. And after this particular seminar is over with, we're hoping that the light bulb is going to come on for many of you. And when that light bulb comes on, we just want you to walk into the room and take action on getting yourself together as far as what's necessary with the financial plan. So thanks again, Aubrey, for coming through. And once again, I know you're a busy man too as well, for the most part, planning. Even though you're at home, you're planning. So please hang out with us if you can. Okay, so before we bring Dr. Woodhouse on, I just want to give you a little bit of information about her before she comes in. She's packed with knowledge. You would never know it. So I'm taking the liberty of letting you know who she is before she comes on, because she won't say anything. Okay, so about Jana Woodhouse. She is recognized as one of the leading financial advisors in the country. Dr. Woodhouse has over 38 years of experience in the financial service industry. She is an award-winning certified financial planner, registered securities broker, a tax consultant. She is ranked in the top 1% of fully licensed insurance and investment brokers in America, and has been a forerunner in the financial strategy and solutions business for over 2 decades. In 1983, Ms. Woodhouse became one of the first African-American women to work on Wall Street as a full-service broker. Imagine that. After a highly successful 14-year career in trading, she retired to pursue a variety of entrepreneurial ventures. She is the founder of Anaj Enterprises Incorporated, a nationally based tax consulting firm. She is currently serving as president of CFO, the Hottest Poets Company, one of the world's leading spoken word organizations. And currently, she is the host of Wealth Nation, a new national cable TV show on the Soul City Network. We're so happy to have Dr. Woodhouse in the house. Good morning, Dr. Woodhouse. Please give us our morning Java.
Bravo.
Okay, I gotta unmute myself. Okay, I'm here. I'm here. And good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everyone doing? I know I'm blessed, and I'm blessed that you are here. And above all, I always in my statements with, I hope you've learned something. So I'm opening up this time with, I know you're going to learn something today. Okay, and then you let me know what it is. But today, this is a topic near and dear to my heart, because the world of artists always seems to be neglected. And that's why we started Hottest Poets, was because we felt that the poets were going to be in the same situation of the jazz artists of old. And so to make the difference, we decided to build an infrastructure system that would protect them. And so, you know, this being able to talk to people who are independent artists in the fashion, entertainment industry, or just independent business owners, it's so near and dear, because that's what our country is founded on. So just a side note to get started is that, yes, I do a weekly show. It's on Facebook, Access Wealth Nation, and it's also broadcast on Matt McCoy's Soul City Network, soulcity.me. You know, my whole focus is Access Wealth Nation. It's the key to financial freedom, no joke. You know, if you know better, you do better. And, you know, that's what's all about. I've been doing this since, you know, time immemorial. I do say, you know, I bought my tax business when I was 19 years old. And I love saying this, I'm in the right old age of wonderful youth age of 61 now. So let's get started talking about why knowing about money is so important. Now, the surveys say out here that compound interest, something that 66% of Americans don't understand how it works and don't even know why. So we're going to talk about that. There was a Gallup poll done back in 2015, and it said that 2 out of 3 adults worldwide are financially illiterate. Now, that says a lot there. And above all, when you look at it, men have a tendency to be a little bit more literate than women, but even more so, the United States ranks 14th in literacy worldwide. So that's interesting. And it's really because in this country, the reality is that financial education is not taught in the schools. Right now, it's getting a little bit better. When we first started this mission, there was only basically 4 states in the United States that taught financial literacy. And now it's increased to about 24. But when we look at what they teach, it is on a level of, okay, how to balance your checkbook, which we don't even use checkbooks anymore, or it might be something about saving a little bit at a little bit. Now, doesn't that make any sense that it is required in this country that you have a sex education, okay, but finance is not one of the things. So they're going to give you an education and make it mandatory for you to learn about something that you probably could figure out on your own in today's world. But finances is not one. It's not talked at the dinner table. It's not spoken in the schools. It's not taught. Even I know I have doctors and dentists who are my clients along with attorneys, and they don't have a clue. They come out of med school or law school, and they don't even know how to start their business. They just thrown out there. So we've got to make a change here. And that's what it's all about, is to get out to as many people. So if you learn something today, share it, But the thing is that are we really even concerned? We're living all right sometimes, but the reality is, like Matt mentioned, Gabrielle Union said it so well, that many artists are living from paycheck to paycheck. And their one paycheck, like we're experiencing now, is in this kind of pandemic, is that if they don't get any money, they may be homeless. This is ridiculous, okay? Why is it so important for us to concentrate right now is that, and I'm bringing up the topic of Social Security, very important. Now, I'm a card-carrying baby boomer, so I say to all of you, thank you, thank you, thank you out there in that world, because I will collect some Social Security. But the majority of people don't understand, and they think that when they get to be in their retirement years, they're going to receive Social Security and they'll be okay. And some may have a pension or a 401k plan. Surprise. Social Security, originally when it was started back in 1933, FDR set it up because people had lost money during the stock market crash and they needed to survive. He had no intention for this to last all the way up to this point, and it has. But back then, there was 45 workers who were paying for one person to receive Social Security, so they were funding it. Today, it's less than 3 to 1. So you can see that there's going to be a problem. And with this pandemic and coronavirus, let me tell you how deep this is going to get. Because originally they said Social Security was going to last till 2035. Well, now it's dropping down to 2029, because that's where they're getting the extra money that everybody's yelling about. They need to get their stimulus check of a whopping $1,200, $500 for their children under 17. Where that money coming from? Well, part of it is the Treasury is printing it. But if you keep printing money and you don't have anything behind it, guess what? Inflation grows and you don't have a chance to really make that money up. So, things that you should know. Did you know that 61% of people today are afraid of outliving their money than dying? And that's one of the reasons. Think about it. You have a group of people out here who are reaching 100 years old. You know, you got every single one of us probably knows someone who is already 100, or they're tapping on the door. And they're not the feeble old folks. It's just like for myself, being in my 60s, when I thought back in the days of when I was planning my future, I was like 60. Oh my gosh, that's so far away. Now, you know, I'm not rocking in anybody's chair. I'm rocking. You know? So it's not a case of where people today, we're living longer and we're living more vibrant lives. And so, you know, that's a real good concern. The old three-legged stool model, which said Social Security, pension, and then your personal savings, has really gone out the door. Why? Because I just told you about Social Security. And then pensions, well, some of y'all won't even know what I'm talking about because they never heard of a pension. You know, that was a thing of old. You worked for, you went to school, got a good education, found a job, stayed there for 30 years, and then someone gave you half what you made for the rest of your life. Sounds exciting, right? And so that was a pension, but that's not real right now. And so we really only have our personal savings. And I'm glad that those that spoke before me shared how important it is to put something away. You know, 2 out of 3 adults in this world are truly financially illiterate, and we've got to change that. So how do we get to this financial literacy? I'm going to teach you something right now and share with you. And some of you may know it already, but I'm going to share with you something that is just important just for the first stage of your financial literacy understanding, okay? And that is the rule of 72. Abracadabra. Okay, so it's not really a trick. What it really is a system by which Einstein said is the 8th wonder of the world. And I truly believe it because I love numbers and numbers love me. And so if you take the number 72 and divide it by the interest rate that you're receiving on your money, it will tell you how much time it will take for your money to double, okay? So think about that. That is something phenomenal. And it's a way of which you can get ahead of the game. This is how the wealthy learn what they're going to do. But what's the average interest rate on a savings account today? And so for mathematical purposes, we're going to give the number per 1%. 1%. So 1% divided into 72. That means that in 72 years, your money will double. So let's put this in dollars. You put $1 in the bank today at 1%. 72 years from now, you got $2. Can't keep living like that. We do have to be in the market. We have to make money. So just to give us another type of example of the rule of 72 with some of the different interest rates. So I'm going to pick the middle one, 6. If you divide 72 by 6, that means your money will double every 12 years. Okay, but if you have an investment growing at 12%, and everybody listen to me, 12 is possible. The average S&P 500 over the past, oh goodness, about 50 years has done 9%. So that means your money should be doubling every 8 years if you're paying attention to it. Okay, our little example, this is an excerpt from our book, How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker. And little Zoe is one of the, and she says she wants to be a millionaire. And you calculate this. And so you can use this to your advantage. She's 19 years old. She got $10,000 she inherited, which is awesome. And so now, if she had it at 1%, her money when she turned 67 would be less than $16,000. Okay, so she's got to look over at that 12%, make her money double. It will double every eight times in her lifetime for her retirement. Well, awesome. Now she's at about $2.5 million. You see, that's the, and so The example of the 1% is what I'm trying to take home, but are almost 10 trillion with a T, monies in money markets and passbook accounts. The average money market now, I know when Aubrey said money market, I'm assuming he was talking about mutual funds, but money markets are very low. And so are passbook savings accounts. And they're running somewhere about 0.09%. And so if we did the math on that, how much time would it take for our money to double? Now there's $10 trillion. So if you divide 0.09 into 72, your money will double in 800 years. And here we have one of the characters saying, that would be assured for my great, 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 great grandchildren. They'll love it. But that's in the year 2820. You'll have, if you put $1 in, you got 2. This is why we've got to know the difference. But we also have to know something that's also important. And that is the fact that people who have credit cards, now I know no one here has a problem with debt, but you got to learn about the power of that interest rate and the rule of 72 when it comes to credit cards. And that is that if you have an average credit card that's doing 17%, which is about this, that's what the banks are making off of. They take your 1% to give you for your savings, and then they make 17% off of it by loaning it out to other people. Make you angry, okay? But if you take 17 and you divide it into 2, that means every paying the minimum payment. And I got to give tribute to President Obama from putting this stuff on your credit card statements to see it. But if 17 divided by 72, that means every 4 years, your balance is doubling. So that means you might have a little bit of a problem here, okay? And so you have how money works and how the rule be for you, because it looks better if you have it. You can figure it in reverse too. Is that if you are looking to make your money double in 10 years or quadruple in 10 years, every 10 years, then you have to do the reversal. How many years do I have that? And it will tell you what kind of interest rate you need to have. So see, being a financial advisor these days is not neuroscientist, it's just understanding the simple things that are out here. So what we're going to talk about, which is more important today, and I hope you all can see this, is the 7 steps, the 7 milestones. Having a little problem here, getting it. Okay. Let's see if we can bring 7 milestones. Oops. Okay, well, I'm in trouble.
Okay, give me a second and I'll share my screen.
Okay, I don't know what happened. It just went kaput. Okay, y'all bear with me. I clicked something and it went small. All righty. Well, we're going to talk about the 7 milestones to financial independence. And I think I can. Okay, I got it. I think I got it. You got it, Will?
Yes, coming up.
Okay.
1 second. Sorry about that.
No problem. Thank you so much. So we got to go down this a little bit further. Can you control this?
Yes.
All righty. Thank you all for your patience. Okay, we got some chats going on too. Okay, so we'll address this once we got a few chats. Okay. So here we go, is the 7 milestones. And we'll go through this. There are 7 money milestones. This is what happens when you sit with a financial advisor or if you're just working on it yourself. But you should always, the first one is a financial education. And my feeling with the financial education is you must become financially literate. Now, to get started, I will say is that you should have the How Money Works book. Why? Because it's a simple book, because you know what they say, if you wanted to keep a secret, the best thing to do is put it in a book. Okay, So the first thing is get financially literate. It doesn't take long to read. It's only about it in 10 minutes, and I read slow. Okay. I'm a mathematician, not a reader. Okay. But people can read it in 30 minutes. It's basically 118 full pages. Most of it is a lot of pictures, and you can discover all the elements. Now, number two, you jump down. There we one. What happened to two? Okay, next. Okay, so we have to wait. We create what's called the emergency fund, and so with the emergency fund, you have to put something away. And each and every person who spoke ahead of time said it. They said you got to put away something for a rainy day. And that's the milestone number 3. I'm going to go back to milestone 2, which is proper protection, but I'm going to just do the emergency fund. I heard some people say, well, like Matt, I think said, and also a few said that they would be able to put away maybe, if you get a large check, put away about 30% of it away. But I also have to add, that's 30% after you calculate your taxes, because taxation is a very serious situation. And many artists we've seen have lost their money. We've seen from everything from Wesley Snipes, Lauryn Hill, Red Fox, due to taxes. So, yes, I agree, you need a good financial advisor. It's even better to have a financial advisor who knows something about taxes. But just like what you have is the 3 little pigs, remember that, put away, and the house blew away, and then the other one, house side is how to build that emergency fund. So we have a little game here that we like to add. I don't know what happened. Okay, it's moving. There we go. Is how do I save? Now you got to make it kind of fun. So this was a little chart that was put together, and I call it my feast and famine chart. Now, why do I call it that? Because when things are going really well, you can put away $60 and cross it off for the week. But when things get real lean, you see you got that little bailout, the 0 for that week. And then some weeks you put away 51, some you put $9. If you do this for the whole year, at the end of the year, you'll have $1,000. Now, some will say, well, that's not a lot of money. Yeah, but that's more you saved than what you had before. And if you keep doing it, before you know it, you've got $10,000. And then next thing is $20,000. You should have as an emergency fund at least 3 to 6 months worth of your take home. But here in New York, I feel that you should have 6 months to a year put away, because just like what's happening here with this pandemic, people are receiving unemployment. And another note, you get the unemployment, you may be getting over $1,000 a week. You better put away something for taxes. And usually you need to look to see what your tax bracket is, or see an accountant, which a lot of accountants to this day, we're all tied up trying to get you guys, those that haven't filed yet, but it just takes a minute to tell you what to do. Not the fourth one, I'm going to go back. There's the second one is the proper protection, insurance. And I'm going to talk about it because it's so important. Yes, we need health insurance. Okay. So if you don't have health insurance or some mechanism that will protect you if you get sick, you're going to be up the creek without a paddle. Okay. Because it can take away all your finances. Even a serious dental situation. I've had a client that I saw she had over $16,000 just to get her teeth right so that she wouldn't be sicker. Okay, so you have to make sure you have health insurance. You also have to have life insurance, and you need to get it the earlier the better. Why? Because it costs you less money to get insurance when you're young and make it last for when you don't have to worry about it or pay into it in later years. And that we can discuss a little later. But also, I'm going to add to those of you who are self-employed or not belonging to any type of insurance that would give you disability in case of disability, you need to get some disability insurance, especially if you're relying upon yourself and your work that you do, because you get laid up. And if you are self-employed and not a business owner, Robert Kiyosaki put it so well in the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. A self-employed person, when they can't work, the business is over, okay? But when you're a business owner, the business will carry on even if you can't work it. So, you know, in today's world, that's what we should be striving for, is independence. But in doing that, you need to be able to protect yourself on all forces, being properly protected. If you own an apartment or you own a house, you know, you got apartment or condo insurance or homeowners insurance. So, you know, you need to do the same thing to protect all the rest of the stuff. You know, Anthony Anderson, he was a spokesperson for Life Insurance Awareness Month one year. And I loved his statement. He says, isn't it amazing? We will put insurance on that flat screen TV, but not protect the breadwinners who are maintaining that household. Phenomenal. So that's another thing. So the fourth milestone is applying debt management. Now, there's good debt and there's bad debt. For the most part, there's bad debt. We have student loans. We have medical bills. You know, one of the biggest expenses in this world, in our country, is the student loan. And I will say, if you go to, we do have some mechanisms to work and help you, because there are some different programs that President Obama put together. And we have a company, College Loan Freedom, that does help you with that. But, you know, you just need to get in touch with us and we can talk about it. Debt, I already explained to you about how debt will double on you with the rule of 72. You need to write out what you owe, what your balance, how much credit you have, what you owe, and how you're paying it. You should not be more than your available credit. You should not have more than 23% used, because that's affecting your credit line, your credit numbers, you know, your credit score, I should say. And so this is very important that you focus in on your credit and sit with someone, because it's one thing that happens is we keep a lot of stuff in our head, and that's the next milestone, is increasing your cash flow. So I'm going to say a bad word now. I'm going to say the word, what cash flow really means. Budget. Nobody likes to hear that word budget. They think it's terrible. But the reality is what we do is we keep the budget in our head and we never write it down. So when we get our paychecks, and this is where I really believe that we are having a problem in this country, we do not have a relationship with our money. We work for it. It gets automatically deposited into an account. We take it from there and we pay out bills. We never touch it. So I suggest everybody should at least once take their paycheck, feel it, understand it. Because if you have a relationship with your money, you probably wouldn't be giving it away so easily, you know. And so increasing your cash flow. This is a situation when you see you have more month than you have money, okay, then you have to look at what can I do to make more money. You know, one of the things that's happening in our country now is something called the gig economy, where people do gigs, they do side things. And that's one of the biggest things that's so important in today's world is, what else can I do? If I'm an artist and I'm on Broadway and they done shut us down and I'm getting a few coins, what else can I do? What's the talent that God has given me that I could do from 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock at night and probably never leave doing it, other than to go get something to eat or go to the bathroom? That's your passion. If that's your passion, find a way to get paid for it. You know, I heard, you know, like Aubrey said, dancing. Okay, well then teaching isn't working in my own school, so what can I do extra? You know, those are the things that you can do and figure out. You know, in the gig economy, there's things as far as walking dogs, reading people's uh, paperwork and proofreading. You know, helping people with their finances. There's a need for over 200,000 financial advisors in this country. And because most of us who've been in the industry for so long, we're aging out. We need new blood, new people to come in. So there may be something there for someone who wants to not necessarily be the financial guru and analyze, but you don't have to anymore. In this world, you got to care about people and want to help them to get out of their financial mess. And then once you do that, you got to build wealth. That's our sixth step, our milestone. And many people, when you're dealing with your wealth, you've got to build. That's everything from maybe doing investments that will not be taxed, because one of the hardest things in building wealth, and there is a wealth formula, but one of the two things that really impede and hurt your building wealth is inflation. That's your buying power. I know everybody throws that word out, inflation. Inflation means your buying power. If I go to the store today with $20, what do I get compared to what if I went to the store 10 years ago? You know, 10 years ago, I might have been able to buy groceries. Today with $20, I got maybe one little piece of meat or something, you know. And I even broke it down even more simpler. I was looking at it from the point 10 years ago. If I had $1, I could almost buy 4 candy bars, okay? Today, to get one Hershey's candy bar is $1.49, $1.50. So that tells you right there, that's the simplest as I could get, is that's how deep it is. How far can our dollars go? So inflation is one. The other is taxation. Here in New York, we got 3 uncles. We got Uncle Sam, Uncle de Blasio, and Uncle Cuomo, and they're relentless uncles. They come in. If we make a profit, we got capital gains. And so here they come. Okay, if we make some money freelancing, here they come again, you know. And then not only them, but then there's a self-employment tax. So there's ways of where you structure your business so you won't be subjected to some of these taxes. And then you can put money away for the future and maybe even have access to it. And there's so many different types of investments that are out here that we can go through. And the power between taxable to tax deferred to tax free, they're out here. And we can sit and talk about it. I know our time is limited, so I'm trying to get through as much as I can to get you to understand there's so much. And we'll be covering more. But the key is to get the book and then sit with a financial professional. And some people will say, well, a financial professional won't sit with me because I don't have a lot of money. You don't have to have a lot of money. Wealth Wave team will sit with you if you have the person who has as little as $10 to the person who has 10 million. We don't differentiate between them. We serve them. And some people say, well, how you get paid? Well, we get paid if you see what we've provided for you works and the plans that we put together. Because if you don't have a plan, you are definitely planning to fail. I know that sounds colloquial, but it's true. And so if you follow our plans, we find a way to get compensated. But one of the best compensations we can always have is to get more referrals. We have a country of illiterate people, and our mission is to bring financial literacy across this country. Do you realize that right now in our country, there's less than 1% of this country who is unable to read, who is illiterate, who can't read? Well, we want that same thing when it comes to finance. And so that's what we're doing. So you just got to keep in touch with us and keep working with us, and we will get you to that stage of financial independence. And last but not least, the 7th milestone, which is truly near and dear. And I don't care how old you are, as long as you've got a penny, you need to know if something happens to you, where does it go? Protect your wealth. And how do you protect it? Is that you have to have your will, you have to have your estate plan put in place. You need to have your health directive. I can't even think how many calls I got for people who did not had their family members go into Corona, 19 and the COVID-19, and they didn't know the person's in a coma. They don't know what they want. So this needs to be, because if you don't put it in words, guess what? The court will. They'll make the determination. If you have children, do not, listen to me one more time, do not put them as beneficiaries on any of your investments or your accounts. You need to set up a trust. They need to be in trust. And these are the things that we talk about, but also help people get to. We don't only teach it, we implement it. They say teaching financial literacy is king. Well, I say implementation is queen, because we've got to implement what we're putting out there, and that's what we do. And so you spent all this time building your assets. And so now you need to protect them. And so you need to make sure you have your benefits. Do you have your health directive? Do you want to be resuscitated? We have multiple types of families now. So also, who's allowed to get the information on you if you're sick? And again, alert, if you have children who are over the age of 18, they're adults. If you don't have documentation, they can honestly not let you in the room or get any information on what's happening to them. You don't want that to happen. And a lot of people are sending their kids off to school, and especially now with this situation, we don't know whether they're going away to school or they're staying home, what's going to happen. You need to have the proper paperwork for them and for you, because they're an adult. And that's important. Why? Because so many families are broken up because someone has passed or someone's not able to talk to themselves for themselves and say what they want. And the families are battling and fighting, And we had a situation here about 20 years ago where a woman was incapacitated. Her husband knew that she wanted to not be on life support. The father and mother said they did. And what happened ultimately was they went to court, And even more so is that if you have children, you want to make sure who's going to take care of them if something happens to you. Now, everyone who takes care of children may be good with children, but they may not be good with money. And everybody who's good with money may not be good with children. So you might want to do a check and balance situation, whereas while these children are minors, that you have two people involved as far as guardian. So this is just some of the things that you need to do, but you need to do it immediately, right away. Okay.
God damn it.
What happened? Okay. All righty. So the next thing is we went through the three-legged stool. All righty. Will, can you keep moving down? Okay. So here we got some vehicles to build tomorrow's millionaire. Next slide.
God damn it.
Okay, can we silence whoever the dialant is? Okay, an IRA. Let's talk about an IRA. That means individual retirement account. And an individual retirement account has two different factors to it. One is a Roth and one is traditional. Now, tax-wise, when you deal with a Roth, you get to put money, you've already paid taxes on this money. So this is already taxed money. And so therefore, when you put it into your Roth, you're building money. You're able to put away if you are under, if you're under 50, you can put away $5,500. If you're over 50, you can pay $6,500. They give you a catch up because people are in the catch up phase. And so if that's the case that's happening, this money you put away. Now, as you're putting it away, there's a beautiful factor to a Roth, because as you're putting the money away, if an emergency comes up, you are allowed to take out of the Roth what you put in, but you're not allowed to take the growth out. But when you turn 59 and a half, you can take the growth out. But at that point, you don't have to pay taxes on it. It's tax-free growth, okay? Tax-deferred growth and tax-free distribution, okay? On the traditional, depending upon if you have retirement, there's a lot of tax things going on there, whether or not you can contribute to a traditional and whether it will be deductible from your taxes. But this is one of the elements that I love to talk about. When you're starting to invest, I love to equate this to being farmers. If we were farmers, would we want to pay taxes on the seed, or would we rather pay taxes on the harvest? Hopefully you all are hollering out there the seed, because the seed would be less. Well, when it comes down to traditional IRAs, you're going to pay on the harvest. If you do a Roth, you're going to be paying on the seed. So that's some of the things that you need to take into account. You need to sit with a financial advisor and determine what's best for you in your individual situation. But some of the things you may not be, even if you make too much money, you may not be eligible to even contribute. With a Roth, there's no penalties, of course, for your withdrawal of your contribution. With the traditional IRA, if you're not 59 and a half, you not only have to pay taxes on the money you took out, but you also got to pay a 10% penalty. The only way around it is if you're in a hardship, or you're taking the money out for first home buying, or if, yeah, that's it. Or yeah, because they don't even give it to you anymore for medical. It has to be a major hardship. And there's always, regarding required minimum distribution, you will hear your seniors talk about it. It can be daunting. If you make a considerable amount of money, and here comes IRS says you put this money away in your 401k plan, your IRA, whatever your retirement plan was, and now you've reached, well, now it's extended to 72 years old, and now you got to take this money out, because the IRS wants to know that they are going to get their money, because you've been letting this money grow and no tax has been taken out of it. So that's called required minimum distribution. So this year, just note, as a required minimum distribution, it's not, you don't have to do it this year. So if any seniors are listening, you do not have to take the required minimum distribution this year. And you are eligible to roll it into a Roth if you do take money out. The other thing is that you don't have required minimum distribution with a Roth IRA. You can take the money when you want to, or not take it. You can pass it on to heirs, and it is not taxable. Okay. Then there's this thing called an IUL, an Index Universal Life. Now, this is a different type of insurance policy. We have all types of insurances. We have cash, term insurance. We have whole life, and we have universal life, and we have index. Now, just to give a short synopsis of the Index Universal Life, you've got tax deferred cash value building, and you have you also, oh, someone's, okay, blocking me, okay. And you, there's no contribution limit to the policy. It grows tax deferred. So you have an investment that you can put money in, you can protect your family, you can take money out under the rule 7702, that's a tax law. And then if you have the hard times, you can lower your premiums. In good times, you can add more money to it. You can put your money at low risk. You can go higher risk. You got some choices here. And the key is that you can take advantage of the market. So this is one of the keys here. Next slide. Is that in a universal life policy, an Index Universal Life, you can compare it to what we say, well, if I'm putting away for my retirement, what's the difference? I got a 401k plan. Again, this is against the universal life policy, and Roth IRAs are the only things that next to municipal bonds that you can take money out later without paying taxes on it. Whereas with the 401k plan, well, you're restricted. Sometimes you're lucky, the employer will add. You can even have your own personal self-directed and self-established, if you're owning your own business, your own 401k plan where you put money in and you can borrow money from yourself and put it back. But the thing is that here's the problem is that when it's time to take money out, you've got to, when you're ready to take distribution after 59 and a half, you got to pay taxes on it. If you take money out and it's not a loan from the 401k plan, you not only that you got to pay taxes on the money, but also you're going to have to pay the penalty of 10%. Next slide. And so, you know, when you're planning for your retirement, you have to look at it. And this is an example between an IUL and a 401k plan. Annual contributions, $3,000. Okay. And so matched, well, in a 401k plan, let's say the company is matching 100% of your contribution. So you put in 3,000, they put in 3,000. An IUL, there's no matching. Okay. Is there a death benefit with a 401k plan? No. You die, whatever is in there, that's what your family will get. With an IUL, depending upon what the policy is covered for, in this case, it's for $250,000. So you get whatever's the value, the death benefit of that policy. Living benefits, well, there's no living benefits with a 401k plan. The living benefit under 7702 says that you can take money out of that policy up to 90% of the cash value and use it. You can put it back. If you don't put it back, then it just reduces the face value of the policy. Awesome. So if you're doing this up to age 65 in this example, you will have put in contribution $745,288 into your contribution to your plan with your employer. With the IUL, you would have put in approximately $282,704. If we look at it with a 401k plan and the average withdrawal rate of pulling money out of your 401k plan is 6%, you're going to take about $70,000 growth. But remember, that's gross. So that means you have to then pay Uncle Sam. So you're going to net, which means after taxes, federal, state, and city, then you've got $42,000 left for you. Now you remember how much you put into your IUL. And if you took out 14% on an average, you would have over $42,000 gross, but that $42,000 is also, without any market risk, is also tax-free and tax advantage. So you think about it, which one do I want? Which one would I like to have? It all depends on what you want and what your financial advisor will advise you to do. But that IUL starts to look a little good. Okay, so next slide, please. Okay. So we have another thing, because some of you may have children, is today's child, tomorrow's millionaire. Having an IUL is not just for you as an adult, it can be for children. Wouldn't you love to be able to help your child have financial freedom? And, you know, we have many things in the book. It talks about the $1 Million Baby, and they're going to need it. So here in this example, we call this the little rich girl. She's 8 years old. And I like that the agent would be God Loves Me. And the death benefit is $100,000. Well, we're not looking for a child to die. That is one of the worst things that we could ever think possible, is to have to bury a child. But the key is that that child is going to get older, and that child will have coverage no matter what throughout their life. Now, the cost of insurance, because it's a child, is only, for that 8-year-old, is only $21.25. Now, the insurance company got to make some money. The insurance companies are like casinos. They're going to win, okay? We just got to try to figure out how we're going to win. So the minimum that the insurance company would ask for is $32 a month. The maximum, Congress says, now you're going to put this money in, and it could turn into a tax shelter. So to prevent that, Congress says that you can only put $74 in a month. So that child, until that child is 67 years old, if you only put the $32 in a month, you would have put in and created a cash value of $171. If you had put that money in the maximum, the $74, which is a little bit more than $2 a day, that child would have a cash value of $1.2 million. If they drew income for the next 20 years out of that policy, it's $120,000 that they're going to draw off of that policy, tax-free. The income, $2.4 million. The maximum amount that you put in, if you put in the $74 a month, and then grant you, when that child gets to be of age and starts working, you don't have to put the 74 in anymore. You need to let them put that $74 a month in. But I would suggest you still own the policy, because we love our children, but we hope and pray that they do right. But if not, we need to have a little control. So you're contributing for those 59 years, but look what you got, what you created. This is what we call building legacies for our children, building an opportunity for them to be financially free. Wouldn't you all would have loved to have, in the midst of your building, especially today, to have this kind of money accessible? I know for sure at age 67, instead of having, what is it, the average Social Security now is about $1,200 a month, or some is like $1,500 a month. If you really worked hard, you might have gotten up to $2,000. That's $24,000 a year. That's a lot different than $120,000 a year. Next slide, please. And so, these are the things that are so important. So I'm hoping that you learned something. We're going to play a little video now on my vision of financial literacy. Hope it works. There we go. Uh-oh.
What if 2 out of 3 of them couldn't read something as common as an email or a text message or a greeting card? They wouldn't be able to order lunch from a menu or enjoy the pleasures of a good book. Literacy can open the door to unlimited opportunity or slam it shut and leave you with a future of frustrations. Financial literacy, the basic understanding of how money works, is no different. Currently, 2 out of 3 people in the world are financially illiterate, and the United States ranks 14th in the world for financial literacy. You can see the negative effects of it all around you. The average American has less than $4,500 in cash in the bank and less than $1,000 in long-term savings. Most carry a credit card balance averaging over $16,000, and over half of Americans can't afford their mortgage without making a major sacrifice. Beyond personal finances, your level of financial literacy will impact your education, marriage, and employment. It'll impact how you spend your time in retirement, or whether or not you'll have a chance to live your dreams. So how can this epidemic of financial illiteracy be overcome? Well, there's only one way. Someone has to disrupt the financial industry, which profits from Americans who stay in debt, remain foolish about investing, and go through life ignorant about how money works. The financial industry is the largest industry in the world, bigger than the retail and real estate industries combined ×2. Sounds like a difficult task? It is. And that is why it can only be accomplished by a company with the capacity, determination, and vision to take on such a fight. That company is us, WealthWave, and you better believe we're fighting to win. Our disruption leverages 3 major components. First, we bring the innovation of team building to financial services. The average financial advisor is over 50 years old, and with so many aging out, market demands call for over 200,000 new professionals to fill the gap. By reinventing how entrepreneurs can build an unlimited business through team building, we represent the new age of financial professionals. Second, our How Money Works program is setting a new bar for excellence in financial literacy content. Our goal is to give every American access to a solid financial education, something not taught in our schools. We believe that when you change a person's literacy, you can change their life. And third, in an industry that's stuck in the dinosaur age, We've introduced state-of-the-art technology and design. It's empowering our thousands of leaders who are located all over North America to connect with people by speaking to their hearts and minds wherever they are and whenever they're ready. Our disruption is about as high-tech and high-touch as it gets. So here's the opportunity. You can be a part of our disruptive mission to bring financial literacy to millions. You can help families protect and pursue the American dream. And you can become an entrepreneur and enjoy the freedom of building a scalable business with no size, territory, or success limitations. You can do it all by positioning yourself with us. So I encourage you to learn more about WealthWave today, where you can build a business as big as your dreams.
Okay, there you go.
There you go. Well, take it away.
All
I
right.
think we have some questions.
Yes, we have a gang load of questions. Daniel Brown is going to assist us with questions he's been reading behind the scenes and get them over to you. Once again, while this question and answer is going, I'm going to place a couple of links within the chat. Number one, you spoke about the How Money Works book. Each and every one of you can possibly get this book if you follow that link and you subscribe for an F&A, which means a financial needs analysis. A lot of different companies actually charge up to $500 to have one of these done. We actually do it for free. So please, if you are in any need of these services that Jana spoke of within her presentation, please click that link, fill it out, and we'll get back with you within 24 hours to set up an appointment or either get the process started for you. So Dan, let us know what we have.
Hey, well, I think you touched on the first question a little bit, but Ariel asked, what's the difference between life insurance and investing in a Roth IRA?
Okay. Let me see, I didn't click something. Okay. Investing in an insurance company, that's basically what I did cover, which was, a Roth IRA is good. The key is that with the Roth, you have limitations on how much you're going to put in. Now, if you're a young person and you need to put in as much as possible or, over the time, or you might be able to put a little bit less. So if you're in your 20s, then you may be able to put in about 200 or so. So that might work for you with the Roth and just deal with the Roth. But if you're in your 50s, you need to put away more if you want to have at least $1 million on retirement time. So if that's the case, you need to be able to fund more. So you can't fund a lot because the Roth limits you. The most over 50 is 6,500. So where can I put some more money? So that's how the insurance product could help you, because let's say while you had this policy when you were young, you were only able to put just basically the minimum amount in. You can only put maybe 200 or so. But as you got older and you got into business and stuff, you might have had some lump sums. You could throw it in there, and then if you need it later, you can borrow it from yourself. So I hope that you understood that.
Okay, any more other questions out there?
One more.
Mm-hmm.
When should I consider purchasing long-term care coverage? I know it's beginning to become expensive and it's sometimes become a bigger need, I hear. So can you talk about that?
I definitely can, definitely. The sooner the better, because again, let me tell you, I said to you, the insurance companies are like casinos. They always win. So they bet on you when you're not in problems and having any health problems. So when you're young and you don't have, the trifecta, which I call hypertension, cholesterol, diabetes and all of that stuff, hopefully. So you pay less in premiums for it. So it's better to get what I call the hybrid, because if you get long-term care in a standalone, it's a use it or lose it. Okay, so if you don't use it, which means with long-term care, for y'all who don't know, those who don't know, long-term care means that you can't, either you have cognitive impairment, which you have Alzheimer's or dementia, that's automatically activated. But if you can't do 2 of the 6 basic functions, bathing yourself, toileting, transporting, dressing, feeding yourself, cooking for yourself, if you can't do 2 of those and it's certified by a health professional, then at that point, that's when you can have your long-term care kicks in. So in the case, if you're already in one of those situations where you're starting to show some problems, the insurance company's not going to write you. They're not going to underwrite it, because you've got, it's just like if you're getting ready, look like you're getting ready to die or something, they're not going to write an insurance policy on you. That's not how they make money. So with long-term care, getting it young, and hopefully as a young person, you haven't had any major illnesses that would cause them not to write you, which would be a knee replacement or some kind of degenerative arthritis taking place in your body young, because it can happen. So my answer to that is long-term care is important, because many of us are going to live a long time. It's just in what manner, because a long-term care illness can clean your bank account and your assets out. They can take them out. And it's because people think that Medicaid will take care of them if I have a long-term care illness. Yeah, they will, but you have to spend down to $2,000, and you can't have more than $2,000, and you can pay for your burial with some money, but after that, the rest of the money's got to be spent down before they put out a dollar. But the other part that I learned recently, because I had a client of mine who passed, and we prepaid his burial, and we put in $8,000 for that burial, to find out that because the burial was only going to cost $5,000, the Medicaid said we want the other $3,000. They want that back because we paid for your health care all this time. So of course, me as a financial advisor came up with another idea of what could be done. So all they got was $64. But the thing is that we have to be aware and know. Okay, so long-term care, when to get it as soon as possible. It's cheaper. And in some ways, those premiums could be deductible. I would not recommend it, but they could be deductible if you've made enough money and have enough medical expenses that it could be part of your itemizing. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. There's no other questions.
Okay, so I'm hoping that you guys learned something today. And I'm hoping and praying that we get a chance, if you see that what we shared with you, you'll come back and you'll share with other people. And not only that, but also I hope you allow us to do a financial strategy. Those of you who already have financial advisors, okay, I have a good doctor, but when he starts giving me some prognosis, I go get a second opinion. I would suggest that's something you could do. We're willing to help you.
Great, thank you, Jana, for your much needed advice to the industry. And I want to also thank 3 special guests that came in this morning to speak with us, Matt McCoy, Aubrey Lynch, and Kissy Simmons. Finally, please look in the chat box. There are 2 links there that would probably be of benefit to each and every one of you. And just like Jana said, even if you have someone already, chime in with us to get a second opinion. But by no means, please leave this webinar with good thoughts and intentions in your mind and not go forward in protecting yourself in every area. We are here to help you, and we're glad you stopped by today. So if no more questions, we'll see you next time.
Take care.
All right.